Now, here's a fun fact for you. 42 of the 55 Prime Ministers of the United Kingdom have gone to just 2 universities, Oxford and Cambridge, you guessed it. Now, I'm sure you knew it was pretty high, but that's very high. That's their 75%. Over half of Prime Ministers we've had were educated at just one of those universities, Oxford. In fact, one single college of the 45 colleges that make up the University of Oxford has produced a quarter, 1 in 4, of all Prime Ministers. And introduced and produced is quite an apt word there, because that's what universities do. They're production lines for cookie-cutter elites. Well, Oxford and Cambridge are anyway. Leaders in waiting from the moment they set foot onto the campuses of Oxbridge, our uppity bourgeois wannabe 18-year-olds, are thrown onto the production line and assembled in the numerous pompous networks and debate clubs. And when they're finished and polished, they're chucked straight onto the conveyor belt and out into the revolving doors between politics and banking and any other corporate position you can think of. And now, don't get me wrong, I have absolutely no problem with clever kids going to Oxford and ending up as big shots in the private sector. Fundamentally, that's because I'm not in favour of fiddling with meritocracy. Generally speaking, I see no reason why those who show themselves to be particularly intelligent and competent shouldn't have a bigger piece of the power pie. Yes, that might sound controversial, but actually I think it's a pretty reasonable system of running things. But, and there's a very big but, I'm not convinced our political leaders, who are so massively drawn from Oxbridge, have shown themselves to be particularly intelligent, nor, quite frankly, competent. In my lifetime, the UK has not elected a single Prime Minister who didn't go to Oxford. And given Oxford only takes a few thousand undergraduates every year out of the entire world's population, that's quite extraordinary, actually. Gordon Brown, in fact, was the only Prime Minister who didn't go to Oxford since John Major, but he, of course, was not elected through a general election. But no fear, because with either Rishi Sunak or Liz Truss now being guaranteed to be our next Prime Minister, we will, for the first time, have a diverse, non-elitist choice of PM, right? It will be between one of them, who read philosophy, politics and economics at Oxford, and, one who read philosophy, politics and economics at Oxford. But don't worry, because at least the Labour leadership isn't of the same ilk. Let's see, which university did Keir Starmer go to? Oh, right, yeah, that's right. He went to Oxford as well. Look, jokes aside, surely we can do a bit better than this. I've known people who've never set foot in a university in their life, who have more common sense, more grit, are more perceptive, more patriotic, who are harder working and wiser than the majority of those who consider themselves to be fit for leader. I'm sure you do as well. Look, people up and down this country go through things more difficult and navigate harder challenges than being Prime Minister all the time, every single day. And those are the kinds of people I want to see front and centre. You know, one of the things I've learnt over the last couple of years, as I've had the displeasure, some might say, of mingling with the so-called best and brightest, many of those very, very posh indeed, is that clever people aren't often very capable. Book smart does not make you bright. And being learned, certainly, demonstrably, does not make you a good leader.